Skill acquisition. Teaching new behavior. Applied behavior analysis is used to teach new behaviors that will improve and enhance the daily lives of clients. Teaching new behavior can often be more difficult than increasing or reducing existing behavior because a skill needs to be created from nothing. However, new skills can be developed if the principles of ABA are used. Remember that reinforcement is the increasing of an occurrence of a behavior through either adding stimuli, positive reinforcement, or removing stimuli, negative reinforcement, immediately following the behavior. In this lesson, you will learn the different methods used to teach new skills and the appropriate way to apply reinforcement to increase them. The behavior analyst is responsible for creating skill acquisition plans that will guide the technician in teaching new behavior. There are several steps involved in creating a skill acquisition plan, and it is important that the RBTs understand them. 1. Identify a skill deficit, in which an analyst uses assessment to gather data on a client's current abilities. The data is analyzed and areas of weakness are identified. These areas are prioritized from important to teach immediately to teaching can wait. For example, a skill deficit may be identified when a child is unable to identify common objects by name. 2. Create a goal to address skill deficit, in which the analyst creates a broad goal that the behavior acquisition program will help the client reach. An example of this would be a goal to have the client become able to label a variety of common items. 3. Identify measurement procedures. Here, the analyst decides on a method of data collection that will monitor the client's progress with their skill development. Frequency of correct response is typically used to track acquisition behaviors. They also lay out criteria for mastery of a skill. In a hypothetical example of these measurement procedures, a particular behavior is considered mastered if the client produces 80% correct responses over 2 therapy sessions for that target. 4. Assess current skill level, in which the client will be asked to produce the target response to gather baseline data, or the client's current ability. This testing is often referred to as probing. Probing is establishing a discriminative stimulus and then recording a success or failure data point. Correction and reinforcement are not used during probing. For example, a technician says, "What is it?" while holding a picture of a dog. A plus is recorded for correct responses and a minus is recorded for any other response. The technician then moves on no matter the response, offering no correction or reinforcement. 5. Select and implement skill acquisition procedures. Here, the analyst decides the best method for teaching the skill and writes up a plan. Skills can be taught using discrete trial training, natural environment training, task analysis, and chaining procedures, and many more. Once a skill acquisition plan is created by the analyst, the technician implements the program as instructed during each therapy session. In an example of the procedure, the technician chooses 3 common items to teach with discrete trial training, DTT: dog, book, house. These small pieces of content to teach are called targets. The technician holds up a card with the item pictured and gives the SD, "What is it?" The client's response is recorded as data for tracking success. 6. Collect data and determine the effectiveness of an acquisition plan. Data is recorded for each trial run and provided to the behavior analyst. The data is then analyzed to see if the client is progressing. For example, on day 1, the client says dog only once when presented the task 10 times. The data would reflect a session with a fraction of 1/10 and a percentage of 10%. On day 2, the client says dog 3 times when given 10 opportunities. Again, a fraction of 3/10 and a percentage of 30% would be recorded. 7. Modify. If deemed necessary, the behavior analyst will make changes to the behavior acquisition plan. Here is an example of a behavior acquisition plan for a discrete trial training program. The technician will be provided a written plan similar to this for every skill acquisition program they are expected to implement. The program name is typically located at the top. In this case, it is Tact Common Pictures because we are teaching the child to label items they encounter daily. The goal is the long-term objective that the analyst hopes to achieve. The analyst then provides explicit instructions for carrying out the plan. These instructions include materials needed, discriminative stimulus, SD, program instructions, correction procedure, reinforcement procedure, mastery criteria, and a target behavior list.